Namaste. My name is Tina Pashumati James, and I was asked when I was first introduced to yoga what was going on in my life back then. I was introduced to yoga in 1978. I was actually just 16 years old. I was an animal activist. I loved rescuing animals. I had 20 horses. I was a martial artist, a fitness fanatic. I owned my own gym with one of England's first ever indoor climbing walls. I loved mountaineering. It was like a moving meditation to me. And I loved being in nature. I trained as a gladiator and I ran many marathons. I spent a lot of time as a personal health coach. I used to coach football teams and individual people, anxiety and PTSD, trying to help people with weight issues, trying to just help people feel better about themselves, maybe be faster, be stronger. That's what I wanted for myself, and that's what I wanted to give to other people. And most of all, I had my yoga. Not many people were really practicing then. So many people thought I joined a cult. But there was always something missing. And then I had a riding accident. It was a really interesting time. I was hit by a drunk driver and I was hospitalized for a month. I had a terrible head injury and I had a spinal injury. And I really started to seek the true state of sukha, eternal bliss, and also forgiveness. It was a very difficult time for me. My mother's family, many of the women in her family had lung disorders, cancer and COPD. And I wanted to do something for my mother and for myself to perhaps somehow try and prevent us from going down that same road. I didn't want to suffer the same fate. I really wanted to try to change something within my body makeup. And I believed that I could change my own reality through yoga. My head injury was so severe, I had to find something that could rehabilitate not just my head injury, but my spinal injury, holism. And so how has yoga, the practice, influenced me in my daily life and how I cope with these challenges that we all indeed have to cope with? Well, I reached a stage in my life of tremendous fragmentation. And although I was extremely strong in my body and extremely fit, I knew that the complex chemicals in my body, there was something missing. So I wanted to change everything. I wanted to integrate something that would create a perception for me of knowledge. I wanted to see a holistic totality and an understanding of who I was and the inner teachings of the spirit, physical, mental, emotional, of my consciousness and the inner science of the self and the nature of reality. Who was I? And things started to get so exciting. It was an opportunity. I took up Ashtanga and meditation and I traveled to India, to Mysore, and other places to seek teachers to shed light on this incredible science, this incredible life practice. For yoga is the state when we are missing nothing. I wanted to do a practice that could perhaps turn everything around. From frantic to something much calmer. Yoga's helped me change my life perception in so many positive ways. I feel so hopeful. The outcomes of pranayama, kriya, mantra, veganism, coming from the yamas, it's changed everything for me. The discipline and the ability and the understanding of living with someone for a very long time who had narcissistic traits, and how I had become a victim, but in a way I was a victim in my own mind. So I wanted to literally change that, everything. I wanted to flip it. Yoga's changed me in that way in so many ways. I wanted to prioritize mental health. The Bhagavad Gita tells us that the mind can either be our best friend or our worst enemy. Our happiness is really about our state of mind, keeping good company, staying in the bar of the divine mood, making really good choices, being the best part of myself I can be, even when days are very difficult and tragedies strike and we might feel very despondent. I go back to my spiritual practice to prepare myself to stay on the point. What's the point? The point's consciousness, to stay on that conscious point. And to feel the love, even in isolation, and never to feel alone. Yoga reunited me to my divine source. It united me and harmonized my body and my mind. Yoga is a science of seeing things according to a higher experience of reality. All yoga does is it really reconnects us to our true self, the source, who we really are. Not our hairdo, our iPods, our iPhones, but who we really are. To perceive a spiritual reality, I found grace and compassion and hope. What do I wish for people? What do I want them to know about yoga? And what do I wish them to know about mental health? There's a sound, and it's the sound of Om. That's a vibration that moves through us. It's incredibly powerful. Nada yoga, deep inner listening. And also Master Patanjali and his Yoga Sutras, and there are 195 of those, split into 4 books. And they continue a unique analytic idea of the human mind and the workings of the human mind. It's an incredible book. Every yoga practitioner should read it. It takes us through an incredible journey of aphorisms, threads, that are relevant even in today's present time. For me, it leads me from emotion to devotion, from egoism to selflessness, from ignorance to knowledge. A long time ago, my granddad committed suicide, so growing up, I witnessed my mother. It affected my mother greatly. But she never once gave up. She flipped it, something that was so traumatic that the mind can barely comprehend it. And she worked with severe mental health issues in young people. And I saw how important it was to her and how it improved her quality of life and improved her whole family's quality of life. I wanted to assist others through what I had witnessed. I wanted to foster a personal development to treat the root of mental health, and yoga is this practice. It can do that. These techniques can treat not only the symptoms as they come up, but they actually give you an actual health program, a plan The 8-limb system lists the steps to help us get better in our mental health. It's almost like a treatment plan. I wish that people could perhaps learn this and practice the 8-limb system. The path you truly have is all you need. It's our treatment plan in yoga. It helps us in anxiety, depression, OCD, PTSD, phobias. It changes the way we think. And this will alter the way we see ourselves, and that's huge. That's magic. It's a shift in perception, as Sharon Gannon would say. The yamas and the niyamas change our habits. They elevate us. And the asana and pranayama, it actually helps reduce stress, physical and mental and emotional, and it brings about a calmness within us. The ultimate cognitive mental health program, our growth, to get to know and solve our own problems is huge. To know our own reality, to know who we really are. It's like standing in the Pushti Marg, the path of grace, and knowing there's nothing you can't do. That's what yoga has done for me. Yoga is the practice when you are missing nothing, you are whole. There's a beautiful sutra, Yogash Chitta Vritti Nirodha. When the cessations and the fluctuations of the mind cease, then there's yoga. I truly hope you find yoga. Yoga is the pathway to our mental health for the future, here and now.